take a seat while I bring the heat. I'm your host with the most. My name is Dizzy, and I'm definitely going to keep you busy. Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Grand rising, grand morning, grand afternoon, grand evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm your host with the most. Yeah, and I'm going to keep you busy for the next hour. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, who have we got in store for you today? Well, we're talking about transformation. And about 2 weeks ago, one of the founders, Harinder, said to me, Dizzy, I met this guy called Chris. You have to meet him. Anyway, while we're waiting for Chris to arrive, I want you to think of the biggest thing that you can dream of, because that's what this show's about. It's about transforming something in life, and this song, I would say, encompasses it all. So let's start off with that.
This is a message for everyone who is listening. Hearts and minds connecting, building a world community. This is the moment the people are coming together. Spirit of transformation, reunite in the meaning of we. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, Transformation Day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. This is the moment, the signal, the claps and the ringing, the alarm to awaken, to ignite the passion within. Ready for changes, the spirit is stirred and shaken. Now we are primed to awaken. New chapters for us to begin. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, Transformation Day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, Transformation Day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. We can dream bigger. We open our eyes 'cause we forgot that we could see. We can dream better. We sing it aloud to be the best that we can be. Can be. Can be. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of? What can you do to make it true? Well, Transformation Day, let's make a difference. You for me, and me for you. Transformation. What is the biggest thing that you can dream of?
Wonderful. So I'm going to ask my wizard in the back office. I've just sent you a message. If you can send a link to Chris. For some reason, the link I sent out has failed. So the Wizard Woo is in the background. I've sent you Chris's number. If you could, because I don't know how to get the link off my computer. Technical challenge, but have we got it? Yes, perfect. Well, so this gentleman, Chris, let me tell you a little bit about him. So when, in fact, have we got that? Let's have a look if we've got it in here. No, we don't have it in here. But what happened was, Harinder said to me, he said, listen, Dizzy, we've got this guy called Chris. And when you meet him, you're just going to know. So we started this conversation, and within a few minutes, within quite a few minutes, it was pretty obvious. We got on like a house on fire. And I said to him, I said, mate, you are coming on the show. So this month we've been talking about relationships. And obviously, initially we started off with the relationship with yourself. And we had some exercises that we said, you know, take care of. And as a result, it happened. Week 1 was about the relationship with yourself. Week 2, we had Maxine Clancy talking about relationship with yourself again, but also loving yourself. And then we had Sonal Osmond. And then this week, we're talking about relationships, but this is a spin on relationships that I've, 1 second. Yeah, so the relationship with things. So what do we mean by that? So we're looking at healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships. Nathan, did we get hold of Chris? We did? Okay, Chris, once you click on that link, he'll be in the studio and we'll bring him in. But yeah, so one of the things that Chris talked about was healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships. Like you can have a healthy relationship or an unhealthy relationship to alcohol. So let me see. How are we getting on, Nathan? We got, can we see him in the back? He said he was backstage. No? I'll tell you what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. Just so we're ready, I'm going to play you the appeal. Oh, he's here. We're in. There we go. My main man, Chris Jules Jullien. A pleasure to have you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Namaste, Dizzy.
Namaste. I was just telling the audience how the interaction was. Harinder rang me and he says, Dizzy, I've met this guy called Chris. I've taken his details, but you and him will just get on and he'll be perfect for the show. And I was like, okay, cool. So I rang him up and within a few minutes, I thought, yes, definitely. And then we started talking and then the subject of relationships was on and he said, well, yeah, I can move in with that. He said, I can give you a different take on it. And as soon as he said it, I was like, mate, you are in the show, okay? Forget that. We're going to do an hour. Everyone's getting half an hour, but you are getting 1 hour, my friend, because you gave me a spin on relationships that I've never heard before. But before we go to that, I want people to know who you are, because I got to know you a little bit in a very short space of time, but I loved what I heard. But I thought, I don't want to know any more because I want to find out when we get on the show. So pleasure to have you on, and please share your story, Chris.
Thank you, Dizzy. Right, so from the start, I grew up in Luton Town, and the environment just dictated a character from me that was just on the defense. I had to be hard, or it was like doggy. It was very hostile, you know. So it created a person in me that just kind of took on the energy of the location, right? So yeah, I became very antisocial, not nice,
What age are you talking here?
rugged.
What,
Sorry.
what, what kind of age are you talking here? Teenager?
Oh, yeah, teenager. When I was a child, I was just pure innocence, so it was great. Like I had a great childhood, like it was amazing. But as soon as I reached, like, say 12, and I don't know, just started moving into adolescence, it just all went wrong. People pleasing, trying to fit in with the crowd, all that stuff. So I wasn't being true to who I am. Like I wasn't, I was so desensitized. I wasn't looking inward and trusting intuition. I was just outsourcing validation. Um, then when I finally left school, I joined the British Army because I needed sorting out, to be honest. I actually needed straightening out. And I think it was the best decision I ever made. I always knew that I was going to be a soldier. I don't know how I knew. It was just always in me. I think loads of things played a part as to why that decision was made. Propaganda from the government, the need to feel like a hero, and self-worth. I wanted to prove to myself that I was tough enough to be a soldier. So I joined the infantry as well. So I've done 8 years in the British Army infantry, 2 tours of Afghanistan, and I also became a PTI, which is the physical training instructor. So it was a great career, with all of the ins and outs, all the ups and downs, like everything that you would think a soldier experiences, I experienced. And then got out the army 6 years ago, being a civilian for 6 years, and it was this process where my enlightenment began. I say the enlightenment began. It's always, the whole life is a journey. Everyone, yours in particular, whoever's watching, everyone's life is a journey. So we all get taught the same lessons. It's just in a way that we will learn them.
Yep.
So like I had to go through my process to learn the lessons, and this is it. So basically, 6 years civilian life, the enlightenment just kind of started blooming. It started flourishing. Like it was really, really spiritual, in the depths as well, like the highs and the lows, extreme lows at some point, because with depression comes the PTSD. Like it triggers all the sad stuff from your past trauma, whether you're a soldier like my choice was, or whether you've been it could be as simple as a car accident. It could be, a relationship with your mother or your father. Any form of trauma will always creep forward when you're sad, when you're low vibration. It tracks more of that, right? So in that process, I started discovering personal development. And this is what I love, because this is what I became passionate about. This is why I've chosen to be a life coach. It's because this journey of personal development for every individual is so specific to the individual, but we all are almost like understanding of each other. Your empathy increases when you go through that process. When you can see a person. I say namaste now, not because I see someone with my eyes, but because I see them with my heart. And if someone hasn't been through that stage of life yet, you will get the very superficial greeting. They will just be they're not there yet. Whereas when you meet people of depth, the energy is different. The vibe is different. You can feel that, okay, we are of an understanding. We've gone through the grind, and now we're on the end, that other side of it. We can have these conversations. People are open. The new buzzword, what is it, woke? Like how you can expand your thinking beyond the box. And yeah, it just gets really interesting. So spirituality became like a real strong pillar in my life. Like I always I always find that my relationship with myself comes first. And when that is of good nature, you just attract other people like a magnet. You become a beacon of light. So the light in me sees the light in you. And namaste, and it brings out so much good in people. You'll meet those who serve you. Like I call them bridges. They will get you from A to B. You can't explain the connection. You can't explain the chemistry, but it's there. It's magical. And then from that moment, you'll realize that you're supposed to navigate your way to the next realm, but people are just like, we're just like fluid. We're like 85% water. So we are in essence,
Yeah.
you know, moving and maneuvering our way through this experience of human. And it's great. It really is great. So yeah, I decided to become a life coach after all of that, and a mentor as well. So if people are going through the same journey as I can mentor. But the life coach side of it is to help others on their journey. So I can never tell them. I'm just like a guide by their side. What they are going through, what they're experiencing through, I will reach for my empathy to help them. But the job is to get them from A to B. And I find it very rewarding, because honestly, Dizzy, some people's journeys are just, you think mine was baffling, like, you know, soldier, oh my God, like you went to war twice. Yeah, it's entertaining almost. It's like you're attracted to, you want to know more. But there's people out there who have been through mad, just like, you know, survived a war-torn country, got to England, started from the bottom, you know. There's people out there who, so, like, you know, I don't want to say, no, I won't say names, of course, but there's people out there who have been like sucked into industries that desensitized them so much. They were caught up in not just trauma, but like, you know, exposure, that you just think, that's a bit much, isn't it? Like, for any human being, how did you not crack under that? You know, how did you get out of that? And then obviously people with addictions as well. And that's why when we said, like, do you want to do this relationship talk, the addictions is what I really wanted to highlight on this particular talk.
So when you said to me, I've got a different take on relationships, I was open to hear. And when you said it, I was thinking, wow, I've never heard that before, because the healthy and unhealthy relationships are present in life. And I think, you know, we need to become aware. And I think that the purpose of this show is to bring awareness to people, because look, right now, it's not a good time for a lot of people. However, the ability to change that is very simple once you understand perspective. And that's why we're here, because you've been through stuff, I've been through stuff. And like you said, once you share that with people, I need to send you a copy of my book, but there's a bar, it's called Revealing the Times Through Explicit Rhymes. And it's all poetry. And there's one rhyme, it says, you are unique, unlike your problems you will find. They are widespread and common throughout humankind, because we all have the same problems. Yeah?
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do need a copy.
Yeah, no, I'll get you a copy. Don't worry.
Thank you. That is quality.
Well, I call it a book full of crap. Yeah. Conscious rhymes assisting progress. I call it nursery rhymes for adults, because the thing is, we learn as we're growing up with nursery rhymes. So I've thought of some nursery rhymes for adults. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you see the child in me. You see the child in my face just light up when you said that one.
Yeah. I mean, look, my favorite one which is I have it on my arms, which is called "Say What You See, as it will show you how the magic of life is in the now." Yeah. Because if you say what you see, you can only be in the now, right? Magic only happens when you're in the present. So when I was 21, I met a guy called Osho Rajneesh. I read the book, and I went to India as a vegetarian Hindu, and I read his book once I got to Goa, and I was like, no, I can do whatever I want, and I'm not Hindu, I'm just me. But what this guy taught us was, he said, I'm only going to ever teach you one thing. I'm only going to ask you to do one thing, that is become aware. Yeah?
Yes.
Become aware of the present, and that's it. Because once you're in the present and you're in the now, so when I was cutting hair, I always used to say to my clients, right now you can hear me, right? You're here, but you can hear me, but you might not be here. Because if you're thinking about next week or tomorrow morning, whilst we're talking, you're not going to hear me, because your mind is not here.
That's
so
right.
The magic only happens when you're present. So Osho says, how do you be present all the time? Because how do you stop yourself from getting distracted? So he says, say what you see. Because if you say everything you can see in front of you, you can only be here.
That's right.
So by saying what you see, it will show you how the magic of life is in the now. You mentioned magic. Yeah? Now, there's another word, there's another side to it. If you see what you say, it will bring home what's true, that your life is what you repeatedly say and do. Now, if what you say internally and what you say out externally doesn't match, you have an internal conflict. If what you
Right.
say on the outside and what you do on the outside doesn't match, you have an external conflict. So
Yeah.
this statement, say what you see what you say, is designed for you to realize who you are, because the problem do not lie anywhere else. Yeah.
And it brings you to alignment once the two are aligned.
Yeah, because it's an inside job, right? Life is an inside job. Your outside world is only a reflection of your inside world.
Yes.
Therefore, so that's what I remember when I was in South Africa. I was working with a company called Success University, and they said, create products for personal development for the world, but get them from Africa. So we had loads of people from America. And there was a gentleman I met, and as I was walking through the shopping center, I saw on his laptop, it just said success.co.za. And I thought, wow, I need to talk to you, mate. So I just walked over, and he said, look, I'm going to give you some advice for free, Dizzy. Yeah. He said, I'm not going to work with you, but I'm going to give you something for free. Whatever you do in life, make sure you're not a copy and paste guy. And I was like, wow. So don't just copy and paste what Tony Robbins says and go and say it. Go and be you.
That's right.
Make sure when you speak, it's coming from the heart. And when someone hears somebody else say it, they say, oh, you're doing Dizzy there. And it was only that thing that made me understand that I'm in touch with me. And that's when my revealing the time through, because I was doing personal development all the time. And then I went to a spoken word evening, and I was really inspired. I'm really inspired by music. It brings me emotional to tears. My first show was about musical expression. So when I saw all this poetry, I thought, I'm going to do it. I started writing all these rhymes, and it was empowering. And I thought, wow. So that for me was a moment. So when you say you've got to be unique, it's got to come from the heart.
Yeah.
You can't argue with your heart. It's real.
That's right. You be your true, authentic self, and that's where everything you just said I could relate to, because when I explained that I grew up in Luton Town, then I joined the army. Those things I was doing weren't actually in alignment with my true, authentic self. It was me being someone else for other people. Now I'm a civilian, and I'm very comfortable with who I am. And it's just so magical that I am able to be my true, authentic self, because it does take a certain level of not caring about what others think as well. Like, if you're going to say, you have this desire to say and speak your truth, which I say a lot to people, you definitely should speak your truth. It takes courage. It takes like moral courage sometimes in a room full of people chanting a song that just, could be completely wrong. You have to stand up and say, this song's wrong, and if they all turn around and say, no, you're wrong, well, you're in the wrong room. And your vibe attracts your tribe. So as long as you are true to your true, authentic self, you will always be in the right room, always.
It's funny you should say that, because growing up, I listened to a lot of hip hop, and I've made some changes in my life, and since June the 1st, and I'm living my true self. I almost compared it to my friend. I said to him, it feels like I've come out of prison after 10 years, but I've not really been in prison. It's been in my own mind. I've had my own prison.
Yes.
But after coming out, I was listening to Tupac, and I didn't like what he was saying at all in his song. But it was something I used to listen to, but I switched it off because I thought, what you're actually saying and what you want to do, I don't agree with anymore. So
that's
as much as I like your music, I'm listening to Stephen Marley now, because he's speaking sense and he's promoting, and it's mad that the album Revelation Part 1, it talks about being a good human. It talks about speaking from the highest order. And as a result of me listening to that album, Revelation Part 1, for 6 weeks, my life is like that album.
I know. And you know what I love right now is there is this new stigma shaping where being enlightened and being spiritual and being open to your true authentic self is starting to outweigh the low vibration, the desensitization, of what they would say is like, music of devil worship. Like, you can take substances that will literally lower your vibration, like
Mm.
alcohol and drugs, or there are, well, different drugs can increase or lower your vibration, but
Yeah.
music is very powerful in a sense that nice, soothed, calming music of good quality, good frequency, it does react to our body because we are 85% water. So
Yeah.
it's like the frequency sends the vibrations, then we vibrate on on the same frequency, we match the frequency, and therefore we do become what we consume in essence. Which brings me on to the relationships.
Yes.
So the healthy and unhealthy relationships. There was a time when, you know, you would convince yourself that the relationship was of good, because you could be hypnotized by some of the most powerful forces on earth, which are love and lust and desire, and, you know, all these things that attract you to things. But where you spoke before about being aware is when you realize that, hold on a minute, although I am in love with this thing, it isn't very healthy for me. So previous episodes, you have spoke about relationships, and they may have been with family relations or social relations or even couples and intimate relations. So they're all to do with people, and that is a part of relationships with people. Someone you love a lot, but might not necessarily be good for you. And that's up to you to be aware of. So I'll use myself as a reference. I've been in a relationship before where I absolutely love this girl to the point where I would literally give my life to save hers. However, it wasn't a very healthy relationship because we would find ourselves at conflict. We'd find our alignments clashing. We would, you know, she would expect things from me. I would expect things from her. And because the reality didn't live up to the expectation, you know, you're not very fulfilled. You're very sad. So that's like relationships with any person. But what I was talking about before was relationship with things. Back to, again, love and lust and desire. Let's say you're in love with a drug, which is very common, especially in the UK. People love drugs. And I say people, that's a very general, but I don't mean everyone, but people love drugs. And I've been there. So when I was younger, especially, I used to love smoking marijuana. I used to love it. However, it wasn't a very healthy relationship. My relationship with marijuana wasn't very healthy. And that's like the same principle with people. Like, you could love something. It's okay to love something, but you just need to understand that you're in love with it, but it doesn't serve you. It's not very good for you. And then it's up to you to set those healthy boundaries with things. So let's say you not just love drugs, let's say you love money, or let's say you love motorbikes. You love motorbikes. You could have an obsession with things, so much love, you're obsessed. And everything else in your life might not even matter because you're so obsessed with this thing. And someone could turn around and say, you know, your obsession or love for that thing is not very healthy, and you'll be in denial. You'll be like, no, I'm fine. I've got it under control. Whether that's drugs, money, you know, lust for gambling, or it could be lust for motorbikes. And people around you are saying it's not a very healthy relationship. Look at your health. Like, you are so obsessed that it is deteriorating your mind. You're not eating. Like, you're going to sleep at night, trying to close your eyes and actually fall asleep, but instead your mind's going 100 miles an hour, thinking about, obsessing about your relationship with a thing. And so the journey that I discovered personally was when I started to eliminate things from my life. I started to realize that, wow, like, I didn't need those things. I can't believe I was so in love with those things. I can't believe how much I obsessed those things. And some people will not admit it. Some people will say, I've got it under control. But your relationship with it, think about it. Really, are you reliant on it? It could be alcohol. People will drink and consume a lot of alcohol, but they won't be pissed. They won't be drunk. They won't be, you know, absolutely wasted, but you're still consuming a lot of it. Is it actually healthy? And, you know, it'd be lovely to see if they had the same relationship with fruits in the morning with a glass of water. I mean, if you stock up your alcohol, do you stock up your fruit bowl the same? So this transition of low vibration, low quality, low frequency consumption of things, whether that's like, all you need is like, I don't know, one pair of shoes. But some people obsess over shoes. I just got these new crepes. I keep them fresh. I brush them with a toothbrush. And it's like, wow, okay, yeah, bro, nice. Because yeah, I've got like 6 pairs. And I'm like, okay, wow. No, I mean, it's your life. I'm not here to judge. I'm just saying, are you sure that's healthy? Like, yes, I got it. I got it. And then like new pair comes out and the old pair's no longer got its value. It's like, to the next. And someone, again, cocaine. Like I had a friend who, he uses a lot of cocaine and he loves it. He loves it. And I'm like, mate, it's not very healthy. Like, think about money, think about, are you prioritizing your fix over things like, you got maybe pick your kids up from school, maybe, you spend time with your missus, intimacy. These are good things to be obsessed over your kids, like, rather than the drugs. So I just wanted to say, like, and I really appreciate the opportunity. Relationships isn't always about people. Sometimes it's about your relationship with things and understanding whether or not it's healthy or unhealthy. Yes. And not to be in denial about it either.
Yes. Well, look, I think that's a great thing for people to chew on. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a little break. We're going to show people what difference we're making with World Transformation. And when we come back, we're going to do something practical. So think about what you want to what relationships. Look at your own relationships right now and make a note. Which ones are healthy? Which ones are unhealthy? And when we come back after the break, we're going to do some work. Yeah, we're going to work on some practical things. So let's go into this bit here. And we'll just share the appeal. And like I said, get your pens and papers out and make some notes. We'll see you in 6 minutes.
This is a personal appeal to all our friends and family around the world. In April 2018, we launched World Transformation Academy right in the heart of the slum in New Delhi in India. On a regular basis, we have both the slum children and their parents being transformed with sessions of life coaching, yoga and meditation. Regularly, up until now, we have between 500 to 600 people attending these sessions every month. The cost is approximately about £1,000 a month. Our vision is to expand this to all slums around the world.
So we've been able to do this work with the help of our generous sponsors. But what we'd like to do now is to continue and expand the work that we're doing, is to open the opportunity out to more people to get involved. So if this is something that you would like to get involved in, please connect with the World Transformation Organization, or you can make a donation, whether it's a monthly payment or a one-off payment, using our Just Giving link.
Did you know over 65 million people live in slums all over India, and 6 million of them are children? There are more rapes and suicides in slums than anywhere else in India. We want to impact these figures with your partnership. So we really need your help right now. This is a personal appeal to all of those that love making a difference. We urge you to generously contribute to our cause through the Just Giving link, and watch the 6-minute video that follows this, just to get a real feel of the difference that your money will make. This is an amazing cause. We look forward to your partnership.
I live in Kalkaji slum area, and I want to be an IPS officer. I want to stop the crimes and rapes for girls and these things. I want to change my sister's life.
17% of women experienced some form of physical violence in the past year. Individual factors related to the husband, like poor socio-economic status, consumption of alcohol, extramarital relationships. Reported cases vary from domestic violence to brutal rapes, mental harassment to sexual violence. Many more cases go unreported. A woman is raped every 20 minutes in India, National Crime Records Bureau.
I'd like to narrate a small incident that one of our volunteers narrated to me. She said that there was this young lady would come over for her 3 introductory sessions of meditation. And on the third day, when she had a one-on-one session with the trainer, she broke down completely and she said that, last night I wanted to commit suicide because my husband is a gambler, he doesn't work, and whatever money that I get home, he takes it all and spends it all in gambling, and there's no use of my life. My life has been a struggle, and her mother-in-law was so scared and petrified that she sat beside her throughout the night, scared that she would take that extreme step. And in the morning she got up, she got dressed, and she came for her meditation session.
About 800,000 people commit suicide worldwide every year. Of these, 135,000, 17%, are residents of India, a nation with 17.5% of the world's population. Almost 6 million children live in the slums of India and has the highest rate of child-sex ratio. 8.9% of the total victims of rape were girls under 14 years of age, while 16.1% were teenage girls 14 to 18 years. Over 65 million people live in the slums of India. Slum dwellers usually earn $1,900 a year. Young slum girls on their way to defecate in the open fields are abducted, raped, and at times hung from a tree, as in the case of the murder of 2 minor Dalit girls in Badon village near Delhi. Since the launch of its personal development school in the New Delhi slum, World Transformation Organization, through its regular life coaching, meditation, yoga, and motivational training, has started to transform the lives of slum children and their parents. For the first time in their lives, the slum community is being taught how to create dreams and goals, and have started their journey to realize them.
We had to plug that because, when Harinder and Kalpesh said to me, Dizzy, how would you like to join us and be an ambassador for this charity? And I listened to a lot of Les Brown, and a lot of people say when you find something bigger than yourself, that's when you can do things that you could never do before. And knowing, I had a beard 5 weeks ago today that went down to my waist, and I took it off to raise money for these kids, and I can safely say, we raised nearly 10,000. So if anyone wants to donate to help these kids, I just think it's beautiful how we're talking about life coaching, personal development, and when the guys that run this organization said to the slum parents, why don't you want to send your kids to school? The parents said, well, there's no chance of them getting a proper job because they're from the slums. That's why they didn't want to send them to school. So by teaching these guys personal development, we've expanded their minds so their children can grow out of the slums instead of being dictated by that environment, which is what they thought. So the fact that you're on doing what you're doing and we're doing what we're doing, it keeps me humble, because right now, if you're living in the UK, you're not in a position like that. It's sad, but 2 weeks ago, one of my clients, whose hair I've been cutting for 10 years, couldn't handle it, and he took his own life. And when it's somebody in your circle, when we do what we're doing, I can't let that happen again, or to anybody else that knows me. So that's why every week I play this video, because there are people suffering, and if we're not in that bad a position, we can do it. So let's talk some practical stuff, and let's get some people in action to change some unhealthy relationships.
Yeah, definitely. It was so heart wrenching. It was so, mind hurting how we are living in current times where things going on around the world, like right now, it's just so brutal, isn't it? It is so brutal. We're very privileged, definitely privileged to make a difference to not only our own lives, but once you can't pour from an empty cup. The only way we can ever save people is to be good for them. 100%. Yeah, there's a lot of problems.
Others, yeah. So let's just say, for example, I am here in the UK, and I've got an issue. I've got a bad relationship with alcohol. What's the first step?
First step is just admitting it. I feel that when you know you have a problem, you're aware of the problem. It's just whether or not you want to get rid of the problem. And this was like one of the biggest issues for me. So just for the audience to understand, I don't smoke anymore. I don't drink anymore. I'm vegan now. And that's pretty much all of my vices. Oh yeah, one more. I don't watch pornography anymore, and I don't care. I hands up and no shame. Every man of my generation has probably watched pornography at some point, and it's very addictive. So that was a vice of my own. So when you can admit you have a problem, you then have to understand whether or not you want to overcome your problem. And doing that takes a lot of desire to see a greater outcome than what you already get from it. So it took me years to stop smoking, because I had convinced myself that I lived a better life with it than to live the hardship without it. However, that just wasn't true. It's what I said to myself in my head. So the many times I attempted to just completely stop and actually stop, I would even say the words, yeah, I want to stop smoking. Yeah, I want to stop smoking. When you want something, you will do it. There's something so powerful about an individual when they want something. If they really and truly want it, nothing gets in their way. Nothing stops them. They find, I don't know, strength and energy from air. It's like they just power up, no matter. It's the desire, the will. And I referenced an ex-girlfriend once. She just woke up one day and just stopped. Like cold turkey, just went, not smoking these anymore. And I was in awe. I was just like, how have you done that? She goes, I don't know, I guess I want to. So even though I was saying the words, I don't want to smoke, what I was saying and what I was doing are two different things. So knowing you
and the outside wasn't matching.
Correct. Exactly that. So the truth of the matter was, I did want to stop, just not today. I do want to stop, but just not today. But the problem was, I'd say that every day, pardon me, until the point where you do want to. And when you eventually want to, what happened to me and Dizzy and everyone watching was, my sister's oldest child stayed with us, me and my ex-girlfriend, and we would smoke on the balcony. And after smoking, my niece must have been about 4 at the time. She mimicked me with a pen lid. So she brought the pen lid to her lips. And it was that moment when I stopped. I said, no flipping way. I can't. I influence that. I influence my niece, and monkey see, monkey do. That also helped me later on in my journey. So yeah, that was how I stopped smoking. Alcohol, basically, I realized that I was using it as a vice and a need to just be. Like, I almost thought it was legal to be allowed. Oh, it's because I'm drunk, I can get away with this stuff, But it was really antisocial. Yeah, really bad, especially as a soldier. It was, almost culture. Soldiers would get absolutely hammered and be very boisterous, especially in the infantry. It was just lads all the way. Tours, we'd use it to, find escape from reality almost. You have to be very desensitized as an infantry. You can't go to war and think about your enemy's kids or wife at home. You just can't. You're not trained to, so you're desensitized. You don't have that energy surrounding you, and alcohol helps. Obviously not on the job. On the job, you're very sober. It's after. Then yeah, another problem people want to overcome: drugs. You know, drugs don't serve. Some people think they do, or it's the same principle with the cigarettes. It's only when you want to stop something you will, and that relationship could be with anything. Yeah, 100%.
Would you say that the people you hang around with is important? Because I know for myself, okay, I was a barber, hairdresser for many years, and there were certain things, certain habits I had that were associated to that trade. And once I left that trade and I wanted to become a motivational speaker. So I met Kalpesh and I said, listen, Kalpesh, I want to become like you. And it got to a point, I remember I'm hanging around with just motivational speakers, and I actually got to the US and I was the only smoker. Yeah, imagine this. I'm in a room with Kalpesh, a guy called Matt Morris, who's best friends with Tony Robbins' son, Johnny Wimbrey, who's trained by Les Brown, and loads of other guys. We've all gone for something to eat. And then after everyone eaten, I went for a cig, and I was the only guy that went for a cig. And I was so embarrassed that I thought, I can't do this. But had I been with all my other mates, it was okay. It was okay to do that. But my new circle of friends, it was like, no, these guys don't operate on this level. Yeah.
Yes.
We don't smoke. I mean, I went to a wedding this weekend, and there was nobody smoking at the wedding. There was no smokers. And I was thinking, I wonder why that is. That's because my cousin, she's a pharmacist. Her husband's a pharmacist. Her sister's a pharmacist. They've got doctors and dentists. The whole circle was professionals that they know that that's not a good thing to do, mate. So weird.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
I totally agree. As soon as you start to change your habits, you start to attract people of the same caliber. And it's not a snobbish thing to say, nor a sanctimonious thing to say. It's legit. So I went through a phase when I really, really had to start eliminating some people from my life, and it was not easy at all. It was just setting healthy boundaries, because I understood that your vibe attracts your tribe. I'm sorry, you're rubbing off on me, and I don't want to be swearing anymore. Like, I do my utmost not to swear. I'm not lazy with my vocabulary. I articulate very well, because I associate myself with people who articulate very well. Where in my past, I would be surrounded by people that every other word was filled blanks with swearing. A swear word would fill the blank. It was very lazy. And I didn't want to be that anymore. And it's not because I think I'm better than people. It's just, no, I want to be better for me. Yes. Smoking is the same. Environment dictated a lot of my habits. If I went to the pub, I would drink and smoke there, because that's what people do there. So I stopped going to the pub. People would be like, are you coming out for a drink? No, I'm not. I've got something to do. Make it up, right? Because I knew that if I go there, I would drink, I would smoke. The next day I would feel very low vibration because of the hangover and the poison. My body would be poisoned. And this spiritual journey began, Dizzy, to the point where now I can be on this and talk to you. It's remarkable, because if I had stayed in that same environment with the same circle of friends, I wouldn't become who I am now. And I know that who I am now, you know, I look back on my past self and I just think, like, congratulations, be proud of yourself. Look at you now. Like, you have habits that create this masterpiece of a person that's not me gassing myself. I don't care. You know what? I'm at the point now where I realize that, yes, there are levels of stages. You know, it's remarkable that you can simply understand how aware you are of things. For example, etiquette. You go to the library, there's a certain etiquette here, you know? Yes. And you go to a dinner table and you're sitting around people who are having a great conversation. There's etiquette here. And I like that. I like that. I can be invited somewhere now, because people know, that Chris Jullien is of good caliber. Let's get him here on the show, or get him to meet so and so. And whereas the person that I was in the past wouldn't have been able to do that, not at all. Would have still been doing. Sorry.
So this is a hard thing for people to do, but you have to look at your unhealthy relationships with your friends, because I've had to do this. That when I came to London for a few weeks ago, because I haven't been out for a while, and I had a list of friends I had to see, and I looked at the list and I thought, okay, who are these people are going to nourish my soul? Because they're the people I want to spend time with. And I made a choice specifically, and I said, you know what, I'm only going to see the people that are going to give me what I need right now, because this was a seed that an idea I had 15 years ago to do this show. And I wanted to do it. And it was a case of, right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go all out. I've got an opportunity. Everything's just aligned up. I mean, the becoming vegan as well. It's like, the only way I can describe it, if you'd have said to me 4 or 5 weeks ago, listen, you're going to be a vegan, I was like, shut up, man. I'm going to be a vegan. I like an omelette in the morning. And then a friend of mine, she interviewed a guy called Dr. Robert Young. And 20 years ago, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, and it was at that seminar that I realized, hold on a second, I can get paid to talk and talk sense. Because Tony Robbins got on stage and just delivered common sense in a way that I've never heard it. And I was like, no one told me at school you could get paid to talk. I didn't. As a hairdresser, I used to talk and cut and talk and cut. And Robbins says in UPW, whatever you want to become, find somebody who's in a position you want to be in. Try and move in with them. Find out everything they've gone through. What obstacles did you come across? You know, what do you eat? How much time do you spend on what you're doing? If you want to become that person, there's recipes are there for success. Success leaves clues. It's not an accident. They didn't just wake up successful. And on day 4, Robbins goes through the whole process, and he does a thing on nutrition. And we go through how our body is water, 85% water, and every organ works on electrical frequencies, right? So your food has a frequency. So when you eat certain foods, does it give you energy or does it give you low energy? So he used the example of, if you eat a McDonald's burger, the frequency of that food is very low. So when you eat it, it's not going to satisfy you. There's no goodness in it. However,
yes,
a rose has the highest frequency in nature. An almond has so much energy. And he goes through the whole thing about meat doesn't have a good source of frequency. So that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was influenced, but I was influenced by everything else. And I got back to everywhere else. And then 4 weeks ago, a friend of mine who's helped me with everything, Al Pasoni, very grateful to you for everything you've done for me. She interviewed this guy, and as soon as I saw it come up on YouTube, I was like, hold on a second, is this my guy, Robert Young? Because I've been talking about microbiology and alkalizing for 20 years because I've heard him.
Yes.
Then it turns out it is the same guy. And I watched the first 5 minutes, and I was just back 20 years ago into the whole thing. I watched the whole interview. The very next morning, I went to the place where I normally go for breakfast. And I looked at the menu, and I looked at the omelette, and I couldn't order it because I knew, you know, when you know what's right and what's wrong.
If you live it, you know it.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line of all of it. You don't have to overthink it.
No.
If you live it, you know it. And unfortunately, you can't tell a person, you just have to show a person.
Yeah.
Well, I do talks, Dizzy, on like TikTok now. TikTok's my favorite platform.
Okay, I've not done TikTok yet.
Yeah, I've got quite a good audience on TikTok because like your vibe attracts your tribe. And you know, some of the things that I talk about specifically is veganism, but beyond the diet. But if I ever have to talk about the diet, I try and make it as simple as possible. If you put meat in the ground, it decays and dies. If you put fruits in the ground or vegetables in the ground, it springs life. So it's very simple to see what you want to be. If you want to spring life, if you want your skin to be electric and your energy to be up, just eat life. Whereas if you want to eat death, unfortunately, that's what it is. So there's no, you don't have to overthink it.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
You are what you eat. But then, you know, beyond that too, there is obviously the awareness as well. Like if you know the film Free Willy, when the boy's trying to save the orca whale out of the tanks,
Okay,
the
yeah.
show, that's vegan. You understand the principle. If you know 101 Dalmatians and you know Cruella de Vil is the villain because she wants to kill 101 puppies for their fur, how crazy, she's a psychopath. But if you know that, you're vegan. That's the mindset, that it's sprung from being aware. You know, and these principles, like you can never tell someone. I never try it. You shouldn't tell someone. You just lead by creed and deed. So someone says, I smoke, I don't. Let the penny drop. Someone says, I drink, I don't. Let the penny drop. You do drugs, I don't. Let the penny drop. Just you eat meat, I don't. You know, that's it. And then they are left to make their decision. You know, it's remarkable because, like you say before, about who you meet, you were the only one in the room that went for that cigarette, but in that moment you realized that I think this is a mistake. I shouldn't do this.
Yeah, no.
You know, I want to be, I like where I am with these people, maybe because none of them do it and I like what they do, I guess I should change my way. And it takes time. It does take time.
Yeah.
I suppose as well, what's really hardest for most is to know whether they're on the right path. There is no handrail to life. So to be raised in an environment where you don't see someone like you or I, you know, because we're emitting frequencies where they need to join us. We don't lower our vibe to go to where they are. Like, do you get what I mean? They have to come to us. They have to meet us. You know, and sometimes it's almost alien to some people. So the man you see now before you meet and yourself, like you said, if someone said to me 5 years ago, Chris Jules Jullien, you are not going to smoke, you are not going to drink, you are going to be a life coach, you're going to have long locks, you're going to have locks on your head, you're going to be vegan, I would laugh my head. I would be like, no, wait, you don't know me well enough then. I live for this life. I love going out, drinking, party, you know, all that good stuff. And now I look and I think, wow, what the life I live now, I don't want it any other way. I couldn't choose it any other way. The only difference of who I am is where I will be. Location wise will always change. However, I've reached a place where, you know, I'm like, wow, this is magic almost. Because when you emit and you attract in balance, you know, you're in this place of just, it does become magical. And I know that sounds really cliche, but we are manifestors. We are high vibrating. This thing inside our mind and our brain, like the mind, the power, we can self-heal. Yeah, we can self-heal. We can heal each other. You know, we can touch people, like, and literally rub off on them. That's why you attract. And then there's, again, collective consciousness where great minds think alike, so to speak. It's a legit thing. So there's more depth to that than I think we have time for tonight. But that's definitely a conversation.
Chris, it's been an absolutely awesome session. We're coming up to the hour, but I definitely think we're going to do some more stuff because I'm sure everyone has benefited from today. And if you're listening to the recording, leave your comments. But we're definitely going to have you back, Chris, because there's a lot more to talk about. And like you said, birds of a feather flock together. And I see a brother in you for life. I mean, it's amazing. Yesterday, I connected with someone who's my brother when I was 16. And the only word to describe it is magic, because he is on the exact same page as me. 30 years on, he's exactly the same, but he's on the same page with everything, which is just magic.
Alignment. Yeah, it is magic. It really is magic.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Thank you for inviting me on, and I do hope to be on again soon. And if anyone's watching and you wanted to, you know, follow me for more, it's simply at Chris Jules Jullien on all the other platforms.
We've got a wizard in the background, right? Wizard Woo. And what Wizard Woo can do, he can put your website on. Like, we can just click a finger or go clap and just say, Wizard Woo, can you make Chris's website turn up.
What Wizard Woo can do.
Wizard Woo. So
I love that.
let's just introduce Wizard Woo because he's not scared of the camera. Wizard Woo, Nathan is in the house. There you go.
How we doing?
Also, fellow, look, this is the first time there's been 3 people with dreads on. Because look, I've got 2 dreads here, right? Just 2. You've got a load of dreads, and so's our Nathan Woo. So this is the first call with 3 dreads on. So it's the first time for everything. Have we got the website? There we go.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, that's the one. That's
you know
the
what?
one.
I love having a magician in the background that goes. We did it the other day. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Nathan Woo, for being the Woo master of all the wizards. And
Wizard
Chris,
Woo.
it's been a pleasure to have you on. And I will wake up every morning with Grand Rising instead of Good Morning now.
Grand Rising. Namaste.
Grand Rising, Grand Afternoon, and Grand Evening to whoever you are in the world. This is it. So thank you again, Chris. We haven't got the ending music yet, but Wizard Woo is going to have an ending track to call us out. But for this time, it's just us guys. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, everyone that's been watching. And make sure you, what do they say? You've got to like, subscribe, and so then you find out what else is coming. So next week we've got, in fact, let me just share this. So the month of July was about relationships, okay? And you might even see yourself coming in for August, okay? So let me tell people the subject of August. So the August subject is parenting. And we thought of that because a lot of parents are off school. So the kids are off school. And how do you parent your kids? Because nobody gets taught, right? So that's coming up in August. I'm sure we can have you in at some point. I can see it. Or like, subscribe, and vibe. Go on, Johnny. Johnny's put this up. Look. Oh, like, subscribe, and vibe. Go on, Johnny. So next week we're talking, because it's the last week of relationships. We had a lady called Maxine Clancy. And if your relationship has not been successful with your partner over the last 3 weeks, and you're saying, that's it, we've got to go our separate ways, then Maxine is a divorce specialist on how to separate with being empowered. So you're empowering your kids instead of disempowering them with the relationships. Because sometimes, like you said, if you can't do anything but have conflict, it might be better to show your children that you can be grown up and still get on as human beings. Because if you have children together and you love your kids, you want to have the best for them. So the best thing might not be for you to stay together. The best thing might be for you to separate, but show some maturity. And if you made a child together, you've got to have some sense, and so that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to do the end of relationships. But Chris, I will contact you after the show, and then we'll look at parenting, because I know you coach kids and various stuff, and we can get you in. So thank you again for having you on.
Thank you, Dizzy. Thank you very much.
I'll see you shortly. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and attention. It's been epic. This is one of my dreams. I love doing it. Thank you for everyone watching. Like I said, if you have any questions, please go onto the chat, and you've got Julian's website. So thank you for your time and attention, and we'll see you same time next week.